After the cast is made, this is very important, put the rod tip down and keep it there. As the current slowly takes the fly to your right, to our right here, I'm going to follow that drift with the rod tip down. So oftentimes, I'll watch somebody make a great cast, a great presentation, and then they lift the rod tip back up, just as almost as if it's a natural response or something to do. When you do that, you put tension on the line, and oftentimes you'll pull the line right back to you. This puts drag on the fly. Keep in mind that it's best if we can make this fly float at the current speed. The only way we can do that is if we have some slack in the system which allows the fly to float with the current speed. So after you make your cast, look for a gentle presentation, put the rod tip down, and keep it there. If you've got a lot of fast water and mixed currents, you'll find that those currents quickly take the slack out of the system. We can add some slack in our system by just moving the rod tip a little bit up and down or sideways, jiggling a little bit, and throw some of these extra curves into our system. That's really important. That's going to give us that slack line, drag-free drift. Now, you're not obligated to simply fish a dry fly quartering upstream. You can cast it straight across stream, a few slack mends in it. You can take your rod tip and throw a little upstream curve. We call this a mend. Sometimes you can do a series of mends, adding additional slack to the system so that the fly can float through the drift. You can cast quartering downstream. Nothing wrong with that at all. Put the rod tip down. At the end of the drift, we had a fish take our fly, just automatically struck. At the end of the drift, if for any reason you see a fish come up to inspect the fly and you think you're going to get some tension or drag, reach out. All you're doing here by reaching out is giving yourself another 2, maybe 3 feet of slack line, allowing that fly to continue its drift. Try to avoid casting straight downstream. In any kind of current, if you make a straight downstream cast and a fish comes up and takes your fly, if you strike back at yourself, which is a normal response, you're going to pull the fly right out of his mouth. You're far better to play the angles. Move a little to the right, change your position, and get a little bit of an angle on the fly so that when the fish takes, you can set the hook and draw it into the corner of his mouth rather than straight out of it.
A good way to tell if your fly or strike indicator is picking up any drag is to watch it in relationship to anything else that's on the water. If there are leaves or pieces of dirt or bubbles or foam or anything else that's floating on the water, they should be floating at the same speed as your fly. And if your fly is passing them or speeding up or looks like it's being pulled across the surface, then you've got drag and you need to make that cast again or put a mend in or shake some slack in, because when the strike indicator is dragging, it's making the nymph or whatever fly you're fishing behind it go faster. When the dry fly is dragging, it doesn't look like a natural insect and the fish are not likely to pick it up.
If you're casting a dry fly, or actually any fly straight upstream, that you're going to drift back to you, if you're in any kind of current, again, this is very important, you need to pick up the slack, but just enough so you don't disturb the drift. If we were in real fast water here, the slack off my rod tip would be collecting. And then the more it collects, the more less likely it is that I'm going to be able to set the hook. One of the easiest ways of line control is to use the index finger, put an index finger out there, and simply take the line from the line hand over there, and that becomes a little guide for you. It's very easy to do, and you can just simply pick up a little of that line as it comes back.